friends, I hope that you are having a wonderful day today. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at Peaceful Liminal Dreams, which is one of my brand new Choose Your Own Adventures. This is also known as the Peaceful Liminal Space Choose Your Own Adventure, and I am honestly so stoked to be back to creating videos and recording content for you. I'm also super excited to share this particular Choose Your Own Adventure with you because it was the very first that I created from start to finish. Let's go ahead and talk about it. It's kind of funny. You do not normally realize you're dreaming mid-dream, and your dreams are not often peaceful, and yet, after the longest, hardest day of work you've had in a good long while, you find yourself consciously aware of the fact that you're dreaming, and you're dreaming of a strange, serene place. What do you see before you? Welcome to the Peaceful Liminal Space Choose Your Own Adventure. There's two modes of play here. You could simply choose whichever of the following options most appeals to you personally, or you could roll for it, and whatever you roll is the Peaceful Liminal Space you'll be able to visit from here on out. Regardless of whichever space you receive, when you awaken from your dream, you'll be able to mentally visit this place by daydreaming or by wishing to visit it before you fall asleep, and then shortly thereafter actually going to bed. This place will be empty of all human life other than yourself unless you invite friends here and fall asleep next to them as they drift off to dreamland. If you do this, then they will awaken in the liminal space with you, and after you awaken, they will be able to visit this space whenever they wish. They can even visit their own unique instances of it as well. You will also gain an increased affinity for whatever type of space you choose to visit, such as having increased fun at the beach if you get or select the serene shore, or having more fun at airports if you visit the etheric airlines. There is a noticeable time dilation effect in place, and you can experience days in these spaces before even minutes pass in real time, though this effect can be toggled on or off at will, so you don't always have to get lost in this place for months before hours of sleep have passed. Finally, visiting the space is always peaceful and restorative to you, and while you're here, you do not feel any of the aches and pains of day-to-day life, allowing this to be a euphoric escape from the brutalities of the waking world if you are sick or suffering from a long-term injury. We hope that you enjoy your liminal space and use it responsibly. I know that I have mostly just read off things largely verbatim, but we're not going to be doing that for the rest of this particular video. I mostly just wanted to help you all get into the vibe of what we are going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and talk about the first two options. First two possible places you could get are the Serene Shores and the Etheric Airlines or the Etheric Airways. Number one, Serene Shores, is a liminal beach. The actual picture shown here is in the middle of the day, but that is not necessarily going to reflect how it looks to you. It can look however you want it to look, so long as it is an endless beach. And the whole point of this is that it is an endless beach where there is no one. However, you can do a lot of different stuff at the beach if you want to. You could do things like go for a swim, you could sunbathe. Obviously, none of this is going to have any actual physical effect on you. However, this is still going to be restorative to your mental health. One very fun way to do this is if you feel like you need a vacation, you are able to use this to just constantly feel like you're on the beach, and I think that's pretty sick. Etheric Airways / Etheric Airlines, I know that there was a continuity error there. It's fine, not a big deal. It's basically the same name. Is a endless airport. I am especially fond of this particular option because I really like the idea of just being able to hang out in an airport without actually getting on airplanes and going to different places. I really like airports. I think that it's a fun way to get to experience a lot of different cultures in real life, although obviously in this particular version of an airport you would not be experiencing that unless you look and you saw like the news or something, which is actually a thing that you could do. I'm going to say that the news that you would see in this particular Choose Your Own Adventure is accurate because this is a supernatural thing. This is a supernatural phenomenon. So even though this is mostly non-superpowered Choose Your Own Adventure, I'll give you guys like a little bit of a treat in that form. One thing that you could do in both of these places is you could go to the vehicles that are present in both of them, boats over in the Serene Shores and airplanes in the Etheric Airways / Etheric Airlines, and you could actually get get on them, you could board them, and then you could use them to be able to go to new places and to get to experience new different things. This is particularly important in the etheric airways, because over here, if you take this one, you can actually use this to go ahead and visit other airports, which will have different layouts. They'll have different food available. You'll be able to learn about different cities. These are just little things that I chose to put into the Choose Your Own Adventure to give it a little bit more flavor and to make it easier for you to diversify the things that you do, because this was supposed to be a very simple, just pick one, you get some cool stuff sort of Choose Your Own Adventure, and I think that this helps really sell that. And that is the first two. The next two that we are going to be looking at are Frolic in the Forest and the Moody Museum. Alright, so Frolic in the Forest is one of the more unique options available here. So is Moody Museum. Frolic in the Forest is the only one where animals are explicitly mentioned, although animals that make sense in other settings can probably be found if you want to go ahead and just sort of hear a ruling on that. If you are in downtown and you are looking up and you see birds, probably not that wild of a thing to see. But Frolic in the Forest is a forest that you can explore at your leisure, and it is a very fun place to visit. There's all sorts of self-contained biomes in this particular one. Everything is centered around forest, but you could find things like creeks, you could find groves, you could find meadows, you could find clearings, all sorts of really fun stuff there. Moody Museum is another very special option because Moody Museum actually allows you to learn things. It is not going to teach you how to do anything super specific, but if you wanted to learn about the history of your local area, you would be able to find something about that. If you wanted to see taxidermy exhibits of different animals, you could do that. If you wanted to see something about the history of medicine, you could do that. The museum is an auto-generating, a self-updating place where you have the potential to learn about all sorts of really cool stuff, and I honestly think that that's super rad. So let's go ahead and take a look over at the next two, Delightful Downtown and the Happy Hotel. So the next one, the Delightful Downtown, is I chose a city at random, even though for me the city would probably be Fayetteville, North Carolina, because that is the closest town to the area where I was born. I was born in Fort Liberty, but you are in the middle of a street in your hometown's downtown district. Stores are wide open, and there's plenty of art and things on display for you to look at and learn about. Downtown's main street seems to stretch on for infinity, and if you go far enough, the stores that you explore begin to be filled with stranger goods, but nothing outright fantastical. So you'll see minor supernatural things, but you won't see anything as utterly bizarre as like a magic wand or a lightsaber. If you explore far enough, you can eventually find empty taxi cabs. You can enter these and drive around them, using them to explore your hometown and to explore places from your childhood. The basic thing here is supposed to be a nostalgia generation. I'm also really fond of this one because I myself was raised in multiple places. I'm an army brat, so the ability to freely explore my hometown, I think, would be something that appeals very strongly to me. The next option is the Happy Hotel. The Happy Hotel is a leisurely hotel that you are able to explore freely. It is a very fun place if you are someone who happens to like hotels and you like the amenities on offer that such places will freely offer many of their guests. There's lots of little things, such as the ability to order room service, the ability to go to a restaurant and have the food supernaturally delivered to you when you are not looking. There's also things like an indoor water park, which can be a source of liminality for a lot of different people, and if you happen to like things like that, this is definitely the option for you to pick. I am especially fond of this because as a kid I spent a lot of time in hotels. The way that it worked for my family when we moved to new places was often, especially if we moved to a new country, was often that we would get a sort of housing stipend for a short while we looked for like real housing, and oftentimes we would stay in hotels. So I got to spend a lot of time in spaces like this. One of my first jobs after after college was also working at a hotel, and I actually really liked it, although it was positively brutal, and at the time I was already slowly becoming disabled. Over the course of my entire college career, my leg was worsening and weakening, which ultimately culminated and became far worse when I was in a car crash a couple of years ago. But even before then, walking was not always the easiest thing for me. The final two options for this particular Choose Your Own Adventure are the Marvelous Movie Theater and the Powerful Playgrounds. The final two options for this particular Choose Your Own Adventure are the Marvelous Movie Theater and Powerful Playgrounds. The Marvelous Movie Theater is one of my personal favorite environments, not in this particular Choose Your Own Adventure, but rather more broadly. I have a long history with movie theaters, and I love being inside of them. But you are in the lobby and concession stand area of a gigantic movie theater. When you look to your left and right, you'll see long hallways lined with countless individual theaters. The concession stand ahead of you is do-it-yourself style, and as you approach it, you find your mind filling with knowledge of how to make exactly the sort of delicious movie theater snacks you most enjoy. When you walk into the hallways, the displays beside the theaters change, and you're surprised to see that the theater is displaying an eclectic collection of films and movies that you enjoy. It doesn't matter the genre or the language or even how long ago the movies came out. The movies that you watch here are your favorites. So the movies that have most impacted you, and they're the ones that you would most enjoy seeing at this particular time. One special thing here to remember is the time dilation effect, allowing you to rewatch movies from start to finish without even minutes passing if you don't really want them to in the real world. And also, of course, this gives you a greater appreciation for cinema, for the theater, for films, for all of that kind of stuff, and I think that that would be very fun. The Powerful Playgrounds lets you stand inside of an indoor playground complex, roller rink, and arcade all mixed into one. This is one of those spaces where it's just every little kid's dream. It's all sorts of things from like laser tag arenas to indoor trampoline parks. It's the sort of thing that would make a kid go wild, and if that's the sort of environment that you happen to enjoy for whatever reason, I wanted to make sure that you had a space like that here for you. I thought that this was a special one to go ahead and make. Everything here is free to play with and use, and you'll find that you cannot get hurt or grow tired in this space. Over here, you may have skills that you may not have in the waking world, such as knowledge of how to operate the machines, and also how to do stuff like roller skate. Time spent here relaxes you while energizing you at the same time, and basically this is going to be something that increases your ability to have fun and appreciate things in a much broader context, generally speaking, moving forward. This is a very neat space. I don't know if it's one of the spaces that I would pick. I personally think that I would be forced to pick between the Marvelous Movie Theater, Delightful Downtown, and probably the Serene Shores. I think that those would be the three that I have to think about and like do the math on to try and figure out which one would be best for me. Although I do think that if you want the most benefits, you probably want the Moody Museum if you want to extract the most utility out of this in your daily life. I have a long history with Choose Your Own Adventures, and I'm very excited that I finally decided to start making my own. This was the first one I've made. I've also made another one that would be far more difficult to go ahead and try to convey in video form. This one was a simple one-pager. It took me, due to difficulties with the actual like program that I used to make this, this one took me a good while to make, but the actual process of making it took me maybe an hour and 30 minutes, not counting time spent dealing with Chuya Studio and like picking pictures, but the actual process of deciding what I wanted to do and converting everything and writing everything down, the actual mechanical process was only about 90 minutes. It was really fun to make. A lot of different people over on Reddit and in some other spaces have been enjoying it. That said, I do hope to to someday do a video on my own original setting, the Shadowlands. I have a Choose Your Own Adventure up of that exists right now. It got a major update the other day that lots of people have really been enjoying. It's been inspired by things like a Wizard's Keychain, which was the biggest inspiration for it. A Wizard's Keychain being a Choose Your Own Adventure that we've talked about in the past. That said, I'm so ecstatic to be back. I hope that I'm able to make videos stably, but right now I am working, and real life is a little bit complicated due to a number of things that are happening all at the same time. That said, I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I hope that you enjoy the video, and I can't wait to hear what you all think. As always, a link to this particular Choose Your Own Adventure will be in the description of the video for anyone who wants to go and take a look at it. It's over on my personal image chest account, and that's also where I've been putting some of my other Choose Your Own Adventures. So go ahead and take a look at that if you want to see more Luciano created content. Bye bye, everyone.